Good afternoon and welcome to the Matt and Alecia Show. We're here today to talk to you about the 7 laws of being a professional. And it's Friday, so I got Alecia here with me and we're going to break it down, talk to you about our business, our life, and our marriage and what we think are the 7 laws of being a professional.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Right on. So, number 1 of the 7 laws is going to be competence. What does competence mean to you, Alecia?
Well, it's just being able to own your space on the things that you are doing and do them really well. And do you want to add to that?
I love it. No, it's, what you're saying, what it sounds like you're saying is that, like, whatever it is that you're doing, like, do them very well. Know how to do them, know how to hold yourself, know what that job, that position, that title entails, and then do it successfully, right?
Yeah, and so just, when you do things half-heartedly, people see that, and then that becomes part of your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something that you don't like, finish the job, do it well.
Yeah.
Just, Matt and I, on the way here, we were talking about how things that you do in your personal life, like, people expect that the same thing in your professional life, whether that's true or not. They're just going to see that as part of your identity, and that if you're doing something half-heartedly in your personal life, you're probably going to do the same thing in your professional life.
Yeah. So be competent in everything that you're doing. So that's law number 1. Number 2 is reliability.
Yes.
Be the most reliable person that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that being said, you need to be able to be the go-to person. If you want to be a professional and known as a professional in your field, in your space, then you need to be the most reliable. If people can count on you no matter what, you are going to be that go-to person, and you're going to be the most known person in that industry. Do you have anything about reliability?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of similar. Like, things that you do in your personal life leak over to your professional life, and
Exactly.
vice versa. So if you're not going to the gym every day and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, and you're like, I made it out of bed once, it's going to, it affects every area of your life. Everything is more connected than we let on to be a lot of the time.
And I love that. Reliability isn't just on other people, right?
Right.
That's almost that self-accountability. Be reliable to yourself, to the commitments that you've made to yourself. So going to the gym every day, if you've made that commitment and that is something that you have decided for yourself and you want to do, be reliable to yourself.
Absolutely.
So it can go internal and external to others.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So that was number 2. Number 3 is going to be a combination of honesty and integrity.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us what you mean by that?
Yeah, so with that, I think that these two tie in together. So it should be what you're operating out of, and it should be how you hold yourself. So honesty is going to be, keeping true to your word, doing what you said you will do, making sure that whatever you're putting out, whatever commitments you're giving, whatever contracts, if it's in the business world, if it's whatever you're doing, you're going to hold yourself to that. You are going to come through, follow through on your commitments. You're going to be there. You're going to do what you say, and that is going to be the expectation.
Yeah, so alongside that, when you're, honesty comes with confronting. If you're not confronting something, so if you're not honest about, say if I told Matt something like, oh, I went to the gym and I was really eating ice cream. There's something that I'm not confronting to him, and then that puts a barrier between our relationship, and that wouldn't be a good thing, clearly. So you have to confront those items to be in integrity and in honesty.
And I think that on the integrity aspect of things, holding yourself to the highest standard possible, that is what I personally believe, is that I'm not going to be comparing myself against other people in my industry, against friends in my personal life, against associates or anything else, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to be basing that off of what is the highest potential that I have. Right. Basing that off of what I know I can do, what I can produce in every aspect of life, right? Because if I'm not basing it off of that, then where am I basing it off of? If Joe Schmoes can do this, if, John Smith over here can do this, and what is their potential? So you don't know what that is except for yourself.
Right, and recently we also heard don't reward yourself for the things you're already supposed to be doing. It's really easy.
Exactly.
It's really easy to be like, I made those 5 phone calls that I said I would do yesterday. That's not going above and beyond. That's just meeting your expectations that you already set. And it's really easy to lower the bar for ourselves and be like, you know what, I made it to work on time every day this week. That's supposed to be expected of you. Maybe that's baby steps, but like what Matt was just saying, go to your like full potential, not just like this is expected of you. Like if you change the oil in your car, you're not going to pat yourself on the back because you're supposed to change the oil in your car. That's just part of owning a car. So just really raising those standards for yourself.
Exactly. And you will become known in your space as a professional by doing so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first 3. The 4th one, which I love, is being positive and becoming known for being positive. What are your thoughts on that, Alecia?
It's so vital to be positive in every area of your life, even when you don't want to. Like, this is, I would like to say this is different from confronting. Sometimes you have to confront something that happened that just kind of sucked, and then you need to like pick it back up and keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to justify negativity. You're like, oh, I'm just talking about what happened, but really you're just complaining about every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
It's very easy to slip into because so many people do it. It's just kind of normal. So this is something that we try to hold ourselves accountable to.
Exactly.
All the time. And sure, it's a struggle. Sometimes we mess up on that. But just being able to hold each other accountable when we do.
Exactly. So this is a huge thing, and a lot of people, go at this different ways. Talking about, just like pumping yourself up all the time and all that kind of stuff.
Right. So it's like there's hype and then there's positivity.
Exactly.
Right.
So what we're talking about is get known for being that positive influence, being positive in everything you can do. And the more people know you for being that positive person, you're going to attract people to you. People are going to want to have you in their environment. And you're really going to be able to start building out your network, start building out your business and getting known and becoming more of a professional because people want to do business with people that they enjoy doing business and life with.
Right. So I'm going to take this in a different tangent. So
Go
our
ahead.
friend Jerry Feta, he last week was talking about how basically he reminded me how the neural pathways in your brain, like if you walk over the same trail like 12 times, you're going to create a habit. And I was trying to put it in perspective of, do you want the habit of being that negative person all the time? So sometimes in the moment you're like, I just want to hate this person right now. But when you put it in the perspective of, do I want this lifestyle? That's a little bit more, has a little bit more reality to it.
Yeah, and so we have positive negativity. We also have create and destroy.
Tell me more about that.
And so what I mean by that is when you're positive, you can actually go out and create. When you're negative, you destroy. And so this comes back to, let's say someone's complaining about something. They're whining. They're not proposing a solution. That would be negative. Now, if you're identifying problems and providing solutions to a problem, whether that be work or life or whatever, once you start providing those solutions, you're creating, right? And so at that point, you can actually take action, do something about it, and move forward. If you're just complaining and not providing solutions, it's whining, and that's destroying, further destruction. So move more towards creation and more towards positivity.
Yeah, I mean, like we've all had that friend where like we've all done that thing where we're like just complaining about something, but we don't actually want to change it.
Yeah.
That's because we're doing the destruction thing, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Like you're not actually trying to create a solution or an opportunity. You just want to talk about how awful that thing is.
So that was our last law. Our next law is going to be respect for self and others.
This is such a hard one and a good one. I think there's just a lot of, it's just really common to be like self-degrading, I guess. Sometimes you're like, oh, I really sucked at this. I really messed up. I'm not good at this. Like whatever the thing is, it's really like very common that I see in people. So.
Yeah, so I mean that's for yourself and others.
Right.
So, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you're living a healthy lifestyle, making sure that you view yourself in a positive manner, making sure that you're taking care of your body wholly, and you're putting good stuff into it, good content, good knowledge, good food, all that kind of stuff. And you're also treating others with that respect. You should be treating everybody like a millionaire if you're in the sales business, right? Like maybe we're looking at a $150 product. assume they can do that.
Or even if it's a $5 product.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or $100,000. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to tell a story about Matt was in Seattle a few weeks ago, and he was traveling. He was like, I have it 2 hours before I need to be at the airport, and he was like wearing jeans and a t-shirt because that's just what he was decided to wear that day. He went into Nordstrom, and no one would look at him. No one would even sell him things. He was a qualified buyer, willing to spend money, a lot of money, if he found the right products, and not one person would talk to him. They wouldn't confront him, and therefore he probably purchased a lot less things that he was willing to buy that day. Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect example. So make sure that you have respect for yourself and respect for others. So our next law here is dress for success. Now, this one is huge, and I wanted to touch on this before you do, Alecia.
Sure.
Because I came from wildland firefighting. I was a wild firefighter for about 8 years before I joined, before we started our business and before I got into real estate. And, being a wildland firefighter, I would wear the same clothes, the same outfit, sometimes for weeks at a time. So I had 2 pairs of pants that I would wear for each fire assignment, and I was out there for 2+ weeks at a time. Back when I got home, I had my blue jeans and a flannel, and that's what I did, right?
Yeah. Very few flannels.
I think there was 3 or 4 times a year that I would dress up. What I would consider dress up
is a button-up flannel was a dress up.
So dressing for success and dressing professionally was not something that I did or that I liked to do. I was like this maybe once or twice a year, right?
At best.
So once I started in real estate, and once I started my own business, I knew that I needed to change my mindset. I needed to change my attire. I needed to start dressing professionally. I needed to start dressing a certain way, because it does a couple different things, right? Well, first, I felt better about myself. I looked more professional. I operated more professionally. I looked like I could afford the product that I was selling. I was portraying a professional image. And people who are looking at, doing commercial deals, doing residential deals, who are looking at real estate and buying and selling, are they going to be more comfortable with someone coming dressed professionally, knowing how to, who respects themselves, who is honest and integrity, all the different laws that we're talking about here, or would they rather someone show up in some torn up blue jeans and a flannel?
Right, and so I kind of want to reiterate what Matt was saying about it changes your mindset. So for a long time, I was a full-time fashion photographer, and I was working from home when I was doing my editing, because I just didn't have, I just decided that was what I was going to do. And so when I was doing that, sometimes I was like, oh, it's okay if I just wear my pajamas today. It's okay if I just don't brush my hair. But what it does is it puts you in that mindset Matt's saying. It does more, it's really easy to say, oh, that's shallow. You should care more about the person than what they're wearing. But honestly, it's more for you than it is for them. Because when you get up, you feel like you're in order. You don't feel embarrassed to meet that person because you're like, oh, I didn't put on makeup today. Now I got to meet this person. Now I'm embarrassed. You want to be able to put your best foot forward because you never know when you're going to meet someone. It just happens when you're out in public. And
how you do the little things is how you're going to do everything, right?
Yes.
So if you're taking the time to dress and look professionally, you're going to do that, and it's going to show up in other areas of your business and life. So the last law we had today is to always seek self-improvement.
Yes.
So what does that look like for us, Alecia?
A lot of education and then also self-care. So it's kind of two-sided. There's the mental and then there's the physical.
So let's talk about this physical first, and then I really wanted to dig into the mental.
Sure, yeah. So for physical, I have gone pretty extensive in this, about how I prepare my food, because how I prepare my food and what I eat affects how I work, how I deal with other people. We try to eat healthy, organic. I meal prep so that way we're not eating junk all the time to help both of us produce more. And then on the other end, we're going to the gym. We're trying to be more active and trying to do that consistently, which is a struggle of mine, but we do it.
So what about the mental side? What about the education and all that kind of stuff? How do people self-improve in that aspect?
Yeah, I think that's kind of dual-sided. There's the education side, and then there's also people. So you can invest in yourself by being around better people who know things and are more experienced than you, but then you can also educate yourself with books and courses and other things that will create more value so that you can create more value for other people.
Yeah, definitely. And the more that you invest in self-improve and put time into yourself, the bigger things that you can do. You can learn new systems, new ideas, new practices, new ways of doing business, and then you can go out and do that, have bigger wins, bigger successes, and help more people.
Right, so it's really easy to fall into the, I don't have time to read a book, I don't have time to educate myself. Most of us drive cars. If you drive a car, you can probably listen to a podcast or an audiobook. I feel like there's no excuses there. And I also want to say, like, those weeks that I'm not educating myself, I'm less inspired, I'm less driven. When you are continually learning things, you have one thing to like look forward to or implement that day, or like you're more curious and you end up producing more because of that.
And the last thing I want to talk about that is don't just be a content consumer. Don't be the guy, we've all heard the thing that millionaires read 60 books a year. It's great if that's what you do. But if you're just reading a book or listening to a book to check a box that you had at the beginning of the year for your yearly goal, and you're not applying the things that you're listening to or reading, then that 60 books doesn't make any sense for you to do. There's no practicality behind it. Yeah, you might pull some nuggets here and there, but if you're not actually learning something, processing it, and then putting it into action, then there is no reason to do it.
Right, so I kind of want to bring this back to quality of the content that you're consuming. So if you're consuming garbage, like whether we like to believe it's true or not, you end up putting that back out into the world. And so like if you're looking at only like really awful reality TV that's just like raunchy, like you end up feeling raunchy afterwards, and that's just kind of like the tone that you put off afterwards. I know when I watch something that's really negative afterwards, I have this pit in my stomach, and I'm like, why did I watch that? It was awful. And Matt knows that because I'm like, oh, I can't handle it. So I think that's really important.
So those have been the 7 laws. We're going to go back through them real quick here. So the first one, we have competence. 2 is reliability. 3 is honesty and integrity. 4th is going to be positivity. 5 is going to be respect for self and others. 6 is going to be dressed for success. And the last one, always seek self-improvement. So thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate having you on. We will see you back here on Monday.